Welcome back, everyone, to Merge Conflict, your weekly AI developer podcast. I'm one of your hosts, James Montemagno, and with me every single week is the one, the only Mr. Frank Ruger. How's it going, buddy?
Is it me or is it just an AI pretending to be me? Because I've seen the videos lately and they are getting good. I think until it gets my lisp and it gets my wide eyes, then it's it's still me, the human Frank. Hi James. I assume you're the human James also.
I am the human James. Now, I recently took a photo of Millie, which is our Australian cattle dog, and asked Copilot to, I'm going to send you three photos.
Miyazaki.
I asked Copilot to show me Millie, who's 9 years old, as a tiny puppy cattle dog. And I know it's the most. It'll be the photo for this on YouTube if you want to go there, and you can see how their shoes. So this is a photo, and this is really good. It's ridiculously good. And then I did one in Studio Ghibli, and then I did one in Bluey form and cartoon form. And how their shoes were there, and this is inside of our house, so you can see our wood floors. And it is a wild. And I texted Craig, and I was like, I threw this prompt at it. And I was like, there's no possible way. Yeah. And it was like, let's do this.
Yeah, you better make this the show art, the realistic one. May I say, as someone who's been doing AI since 2017, mark my hipster card, specifically doing imagery since 2017, my God, it's gotten good. They've surpassed me, James. I used to be at the bleeding edge, but my God, this cute little puppy dog that is totally not your dog, but is totally your dog is freaky. We've said it on this podcast before. Don't trust a thing you see on the internet anymore. It's all fake as far as I'm concerned.
It's all fake, and all the code is a lie. I was recently on Hansel Minutes. I don't know if you caught that. Scott Hanselman's podcast.
I did. I saw the Scott Hanselman YouTube video, which just had a picture of James. I believe for the entire time. I didn't make it through the whole episode yet, but it's just James staring at you, and you're not like this AI version of James that we're all looking at right now. It wasn't animated, but I assume eventually Scott will be able to animate that picture of you.
Well, here's the crazy part about Hansel Minutes is so how it's set up on his podcast feed on his Shanselman YouTube. It's through an RSS feed organically. So he uses the photo of each individual person as the 3,000 by 3,000 photo, but they add a sepia tone to all of them, which is so they have a uniformity. I do think maybe he has a separate YouTube channel in which they upload, because that can maybe come out at a later time, because we record in Zencastr and we're recording with this camera. I record on this camera and I do this thing. So we're using the same technology that we recorded for this podcast. So he has the video of him and I talking there, but I talked for longer than I think maybe his longest podcast a while about vibe coding, and many of the things that we talked about in this podcast. I repped our podcast. So if you're new, hello people from Hansel Minutes to Merge Conflict. I don't think he actually uses show notes, so you'd have to actually listen to the podcast to subscribe and do all the things in the pod. So you actually listened to it. Did you have any thoughts? I mean, I think you heard it all before.
I heard about the thing that you built, so I skipped around a bit, but I loved how incredulous he was just at the very beginning that you actually put something on a server and gave out a public URL to it. I think that was what he was most incredulous about, because as we all know, vibe coding is both productive and awesome, but it's also not very secure at this point, / you don't know all the security implications of the code that is being randomly generated that you're not actually looking at. So I did love his incredulousness, if I may use that word, in the beginning, just for that. It was funny. Scott has always been new technology, Scott. That's what I think about. I go to Scott Hanselman to learn about new things. And it was fun to even have him be like, whoa, now, wait a minute. Did you really? So it's good.
Yeah. It was good balance as him coming in to check my bias and then also be the skeptic in the room. And I mean, that's what Scott's superpower is being that voice and that skeptic and the voice of the listener. And he's super talented at that. And I know that he doesn't listen to this podcast, but maybe if he does, maybe he does on this one. Maybe we'll call it the Hansel Minute Reacts video. Um, but yeah, I mean, this had me thinking a lot. And I think you and I were talking a lot about AI code. We were talking a lot about image generation. We're talking about just like, we've talked about on this podcast for a long time, and you were really ahead of the curve when it came to ML and AI and building applications. I remember going to a user group talk that you gave like 7 years ago about F sharp and like image. What was it? It was about
Was
what
it
was your F
super
sharp?
resolution, the imaging one? I
Something
did a
like that.
few, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, something crazy advanced. And like I was even walking Millie with Heather today, and we're talking about the environment effect of AI and all this stuff. And obviously, everything that we do this podcast right now, these lights that out, everything about me, the impact and environment, different scales, different things like this, right?
Oh,
The car that we
interesting.
drive.
Yeah.
And I said, I think the difference is that at some point, and I actually don't think it's that far away because I'm already seeing some of it, is just everything that we end up doing, these things will just happen naturally around us. Like there's no reason that when we record in Zencaster, that Zencaster AI can't start applying filters and automation and leveling and all these different things and do things automatically for us. And in fact, I start to see this in a lot of the code, not just code writing, but word writing when I'm in Word or when I'm in Loop or I'm in different text editors that aren't code editors. It's really as if things are skipping ahead of what I'm thinking to fill me in. It was in
Yeah.
this weird place where I might have been in, I might have even been in iMessage. I don't remember, but I had typoed a word and I moved on, and then it like updated the word automatically for it. Just like is like, I know what you're saying based on the context of what you're
Yeah.
doing. And again, I think these things are naturally just going to happen. Now that might have been on device or other things, but I think when we talk about, AI coding, we talk about AI image generation, we talk about these things. I feel what has happened, it's only May. We're about coming up on Build. We're coming up on Googlio. We're coming up on DubDub. I do honestly feel that there has been this huge paradigm shift, especially, I don't know if it's just in the last several months or in the last 6 months, but I feel as though things, at least for me, are at a sprint pace where I think for the last several years, things were in a running or, fast walking pace. But I do feel like it's on, like it is go. Like I am I am somewhat slow to adopt different AI technologies into my daily life, but now that I have gradually introduced more things into it, I'm now really seeing the potential of just what could be. And what I mean by that is if we're having a conversation in Slack or in Teams or in iMessage and we're talking about meeting up at a time, we're talking about doing something, we're following up on these things. Why aren't these agents just chiming in, scheduling things, doing things like why isn't getting rid of all of the tedious work for me automatically so I don't have to do that? Like I
Yeah.
think we're not 100% there, but I'm seeing this to unlock this thing. And I'm talking about more than just me telling my dingus to go do something, what the weather is. I am saying it's like
Mhm.
proactive
Oh, yeah.
infusing in it. Like I saw when I was at the Microsoft 50th, I saw the potential unlock of like what these AI assistants and the agents and the co-pilot can be. Obviously I'm biased. I work at Microsoft, so I'm infused with Microsoft technology all around me, right? I acknowledge my bias of our technology, but I think things are moving great. I'm in our products all the time, obviously, but I see this potential of kind of fire and forget and like just go do stuff.
Yeah.
And that might have been maybe the recent introduction of MCP servers and this agent to agent mode and just other things being infused. I want to do less. I want to focus on more important things, right? That I actually want to do on a day-to-day basis, every single day. Like I think what would be amazing at the end of the day is we do kind of get into this weird. We've talked about Iron Man and Jarvis for like ever, right? But like, why we're not going to get there, but there are going to be elements of that are more realistic, I think, than ever. And I think it's going to happen at a way faster pace than I think I was expecting at the beginning of this year. I just think that it's like everyone that wasn't on board is now on board, and they're all on board at a breakneck speed. I mean, if you look at what Google is doing with like Gemini and stuff like that, right?
Amazing.
It's like if you were thinking about Google a year ago, you're like, I don't know, you know what I mean? I don't know what they're up to, right? They're reconfiguring and doing stuff, but there's sprinting happening, right? There's new Phi models, there's new GPT models, there's new Llama models, there's like this, and these have happened, right? But it's not just the models, it's that infusion of the models. And then it's sort of like the extensions, the APIs on top of the models, and doing those things that I think are actually realistic for things that I want to have happen on a daily basis. Like I want things to automatically prepare things for me in a way. Like why, for example, do I have to like log onto my phone and check my email and respond? And why do I have to worry about sending a message, for birthdays and all this? I don't know, just queue it all up. Like, let me just like figure out all this stuff for me. I'm not that I'm lazy, but at the end of the day, like it should know that tomorrow is Mother's Day. We're recording this on May 10th, and tomorrow's Mother's Day. It should know. And it shouldn't be like, oh, I have to make sure that I set a calendar reminder for myself to text my stepmom that it's Mother's Day. It should be proactive enough to be like, oh, we've realized that you got your stepmom and your birth mother. And guess what? It's Mother's Day. I've drafted these amazing things because I know you, I know our interactions, and I can do this for you. And it's like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not that I'm lazy, not that I don't care about those things, but like, I'll just do it for me. Just do it. And I don't know, because I've vibe coded so much and like real code at this point that is like meaningful, not only in feedback flow, but stuff I'm preparing for build and stuff that I've demoed. It's like I am saving tens of hundreds of hours, Frank. It is ridiculous. And I'm like, I'm getting time back. You know what I mean? Like people think it's like, oh, you're losing out on those connections or these things. You're not reviewing the code, the security of this stuff. I can review that stuff. I can do that. So I know what the code's doing. Like, but at the end of the day, I want more time to work on more meaningful work. And I want to make sure that I can spend meaningful time and hours with my wife and with our dog. You know what I mean? And my family and with you at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So I feel, this is my sandbox rant. I don't know why,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel as though like, and you're probably like, James, has been happening for like the last 10 years, bro. But like, I actually feel like it is actually
80
starting to
years.
happen. The last 8 years, but I actually feel
80.
80 years. Oh my God. But I feel like it's happening, Frank. And I feel like I feel a lot better
Mm-hmm.
about things because I like getting my time back to work on important things. Like at the end of
Yeah.
this, what would be amazing, right? Is I finish this podcast, we hit stop, and I don't have to do any work. Like I know that reality is going to happen, but man, that would be super nice because I would prefer to get that hour back to not have to like edit and upload videos. Like that seems like, and again, that's not even like some of that's not even AI, right? But I'm just saying is like this
Mm-hmm.
automation, these agents, these things that are doing things behind the scenes. They're workers that are doing stuff, whether it be a service worker, right? That we've built and they're processing queues. But like I'm just saying, those are the things that I want more of, and less of us manually connecting the docs, because we could always do this with if this and that, or we could do that with Zapier and all these other. We could configure all these things, but it just needs to get there and do it for me. There's my end of soapbox, Frank. That's what I want. Get it
Well,
done, Frank.
you only brought up like 100 things that I want to respond to, and I can't possibly remember all of them now from the beginning. So you're going to have to repeat parts of that soapbox. But let me just chime in on why I was saying 80 years, because, and I actually want to extend that number, because you're describing basically every product sales pitch since the 20th century began and marketing ever began. Have you heard about this new thing that chops your onions for you? The microwave, it's better than the oven. The toaster oven, it's better than the oven. The air fry, it's better than the toaster oven. How much time is it going to save you so you can devote your time to more important things like talking to
Yes.
an AI?
Yes.
So like
I'm in.
this is just modern culture. At least, yeah, this is what humanity is sadly been striving for this whole time, because we all have different ideas of what is a good use of my time and what's not. We have so much more luxury time than people did 3,000 years ago or 6,000 years ago. We don't have to make our own food. We don't have to do this. We don't have to do that. So it's always just been progress. Progress is freeing me to do things that I'm more interested in doing. But there's wonderful counter arguments to that. Like, okay, well, you're a worker and you need a paycheck, buddy. This is capitalism. What benefit do you provide to a company now if everything that you do is automated? So we have to answer that question at some point. But I agree with you, and I can't not agree with you because that is products. That is all of capitalism in a nutshell. You just kind of nailed it right there. But I want to take a step back to things you were saying earlier, which was it's well, we've been arguing for proactive AI for the longest time. I was always telling you this prompting stuff is fun, but that's stupid. Like that I have to sit there and command it and type all these words. I'm a bad typist. I don't want to be
Yeah.
typing all these words. And I'm a slow speaker. I don't want to even be speaking it. It turns out speaking UIs aren't even that great either. But it is fundamentally just a UI problem. If you look at AI, AI is the new assembly language of computing. Or if it's not today, it will be in the future. No one writes assembly language anymore. No one's going to be writing a C program anymore. What we're going to be writing is agent things, whatever we call them in the future. It doesn't even matter. Who cares what word we use, what branding thing? The question is, what do we do with these? How do we get them all together? You know, I was editing a video for YouTube the other day and I wanted to put cuts exactly where there's a nice silent point, you know, at the end of a word, put a cut there. And I'm using a tool that's not even old, that has new updates all the time. And yet the silly thing can't even zero in at the end of a word for me. You know, I have to move the little slider and listen to the audio in my ear and figure out that's a trivial case for an AI. Honestly, it's kind of a trivial case for a human programmer to code up that algorithm too. But, you know, there's tons of low-hanging fruit out there. And as developers, we're in that wonderful part of the hockey stick curve where, what's that Steve Jobs quote? This isn't an app, it's a feature. Well, we're in that wonderful place where features are apps right now. So you could write an entire app around splitting splitting a video word by word and having automatic cut points in it. And eventually that will be a feature in every video editing app. But right now, we're in this arbitrage moment where you could actually just write that as a separate app and make some dollar bills. I think we're actually kind of lucky that we're in that phase because you can still take your old programming skills. You can, if you have any imagination at all, you can see the benefits of AI and start applying it to your daily practices. But
I want
eventually,
to. I
yeah,
want to.
those are just
I
going to
want.
be features.
I want to tap on that really quick because I was just watching this Y Combinator video with Tom, the one of the and then one of the other folks at Y Combinator. He was actually just talking about that exact same point. Like as a founder or someone tinkering or things like the things that you can actually get off the ground running for these really highly specialized applications that people actually want to do is now easier and faster to do than ever. So if you wanted to go create that what may have taken you months or year to do, you can churn out a lot faster because you can get rid of all the boilerplate because that'll be generated for you extremely fast. You might need to focus a little bit on the algorithm of things, but a lot of that might be generated too. So you can get something off the ground running faster and these integrations there too. So what he was saying is what we may see in the not too long future here is that ChatGPT or Copilot or Cursor or whatever, like you go in and like instead of saying I'm going to build this entire app, no, I'm going to build this feature and like this is the app, right? The feature is the app, like
Yeah.
you're saying. So we almost have like these throwaway feature apps. Like you imagine you go to
Right now.
ChatGPT or you go to Cursor, you go to VS Code, or you go to Windsor, or you go any of these things, right? Riplet, all these things, Replit, all these things, and you say, give me an application that does exactly what you're saying, and it just does it. Maybe it's just for you. Like, man, how cool is that? I've always said I develop apps for myself, and I've always done it. It always taken me some time, right? And I've been so focused on a lot of that boilerplate starter stuff. Like I could actually focus on scaling the application out. I could get it up and off the ground running a lot faster than ever. But there's so many things that I would love from even right now. Like what we were just saying is, wouldn't it be so cool if I could just literally, dude, I could probably vibe code this in no time at all. Just like take this video, send it to YouTube, do this thing, do that other, and like it would be perfect. And guess what? Like you were just saying, other people would find that useful at the same time. Like, am I going to build the next $10 billion business out of it? No, but that's okay. Because how long did it take me to do? And that time to entry is a lot faster than ever.
Yeah, it's tricky. And those aren't going to last for very long. The end game is sadly apps are dead, basically, in the long end game. Right now, apps are going to go through a renaissance. And software as a service is becoming quite a renaissance. Anyone can write a basically trivial app and start charging for it, and people are paying for it, oddly enough. Um, that's not going to last for long. I had a tweet from a couple years ago, and I don't know how to make this point any better, and I have a hard time even explaining it to people. But the trick isn't to have AIs write code for you. In the future, AIs will be the code. They are the app. We're not there yet, thankfully. We're in this fun arbitrage phase where you can make lots of money and go out there and make lots of things. But the end game is very clear to me. Apps are gone. Once we have a powerful enough system that can, on the fly, build you the app, it's not going to be an app. It's just going to do a task. It's going to write the code. It's going to execute the code, and it's probably going to throw it away because it's not even worth saving. Is that an app? Is it not an app? Kind of doesn't matter. But for example,
think of feedback flow. My application that does sentiment analysis, and like you put a thread and you do this thing. Like actually, at the end of the day, that's not the tool I want. I mean, no. It's a tool that I know I can build. The tool that I actually want is a AI that is going out, figuring out what are the threads that I should be monitoring based on the criteria that I want, that I've told it. And it goes and generates reports for me and puts it in a place and does a thing and tells me all these things. Like, that's the thing that I actually want. I want no manual work. And those are all individual agents that are doing the things, or whatever we call them, right? But you're totally right. Like, the UI is a means to the end today. But in the future, that's not what I want. Like, wouldn't it be great for it to wake up and say, hey, here's the latest information on .NET Mount. Here's the latest thing on blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, here's what's trending. In fact, like here's recommendations of like what your next steps are, like actions that you should take for your product to make better. Like, and I think you're totally right. It's like, it's there. And I don't know when that shift is going to happen. I don't think it's like
it's a while.
It's a while. I don't think it's necessarily soon, but I think we'll start to see more of those types of things happening.
Yeah. And the world I don't want is, you were talking about it. You're like, oh, the AI can just preemptively tell me it's going to be Mother's Day tomorrow and you should go do something. I am notoriously bad at taking orders from a robot, from a machine. If I have a calendar invite or a calendar event and it's like, hey, you got to go do this thing, I'm like, who are you to tell me what to do? You're not my boss.
Yeah.
I hate it when the machine tells me what to do. So I personally am all for the proactive. Sorry, just going back to what you were saying before about the proactive. If it just does it for me, I'm in.
Yeah,
if
do it for me.
Tells me to do something, I'm out.
No.
Not at all.
I want to wake up and it's like, hey, just hit send, review and hit send. I got you. I got you, James. Yeah. That's what I want at the end of the day. That's amazing. Now, I don't want every aspect of my life to be that way. Like, I obviously, there's thought, there's decision, there's planning. I love planning trips. I love doing all this stuff. But if I can not only get rid of some of the tediousness. I got this trip to Japan, right? Like, imagine, I love the planning. I want to find stuff. I want to do some stuff. But if I can get it to the fact that I don't have to worry about booking sites and travel and this, and it can just like figure out I give it the itinerary and it does all this stuff for me. Yeah. Wow. That'd be great. Right. And imagine it's there and it's like, oh, it knows about all the train systems. It knows all about this stuff and it can help me out and just proactively do stuff. That's a real win at the end of the day.
Yeah. Sorry, my mind keeps wandering because I'm just like, what our business is going to be like in the future? I don't know. We're doing the future podcast today, but what is the value of human labor even in the future? So we're both, all we're talking about is information, IT, information work, where people have meetings all day. They play with Excel spreadsheets all day. They click a few buttons, sign some contracts, and they're like, business accomplished. That's information work. Yeah. This isn't manufacturing. This isn't farming. This isn't a real thing. This isn't, AIs cannot keep our population alive today. We still need farmers to go put seeds in the ground, to grow some plants, dig those plants out of the ground, process them, make them friendly, and ship them to my store. We still need that physical labor at some point. I think AI is sorry, I'm making grandiose statements right now, but AI is going to replace it's going to replace us developers first, but then it's going to replace all information work, all this contract stuff, all this talking. Like, So are all jobs in the future going to be manual labor? Because that's the only thing left. I should get back to working on robots. Okay, let's not go down that path. I just wanted to bring it up because I just kept thinking all we're talking about is information work. We're not talking about real jobs, real work at this
No,
point.
I don't think so. I actually I'll have to link to this Y Combin. It's just the first video on Y Combinator right now on the YouTube. It was a few days ago. Let me find the exact Y Combinator YouTube. The video specifically on the Y Combinator is how AI coding agents will change your job.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of to your point, it's very good. It's 20 minutes. It's very good. It's on the breakdown. It's very good. I don't watch too much Y Combinator, but there's a few things I'm like, oh, this is like really like in what's happening right now. I think a lot of what Tom was saying is the things that AI can't do or won't be able to do for a long time are that is that critical like innovation, like ideation, like coming up with like those aspects of it. Like it can implement the feature, but it maybe can't dream up the feature, at this point, right? And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
eventually, maybe way down the road or somewhat down the road, but there needs to be that innovation, almost that architecture role. And actually, like the thing that we've been talking a lot about and been showing with almost like spec driven development is like, again, context we've talked about is like so important. Is to me, what we can become really good at is driving back and in aiding the AI in our vision of what we actually wanted to develop and how we wanted to develop and what schematic we want to develop. We become
Yeah.
the prompt engineer architects at the end of the day, which is a different way of guiding the AI to do what we
Mm-hmm.
want to save time, right? Of saying, this is our vision, this is our dream, this is what we want, and then executing. Now, you need to have people that are reviewing the code, understand the code, and doing these things as well. But I think that that's important. And then you also need folks that are able to get things from A to Z out into the market and the testers and the engineers and the DevOps and the whole cycle, right? So there's all those places for that. Like all that's going to evolve over the next 5 years, 10 years,
Yeah.
15. But I think he made a very good point in the video, which was if you remember original programming, it was punch cards, it was teletypes, it was like all these things. And that is not what we did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, last year,
Mm-hmm.
this year, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think the thing to remember, and whether you're a developer, whether you're a farmer, whether you're a service worker, whether you're a podcaster, how you do your thing has evolved at different paces in different ways over all of your existence. Farmers don't farm the same way that they farmed
Mm-hmm.
100 years ago. They do not farm the same because it's efficient. They can do more with less people. They can do things with higher quality. They have more insights. They have better tools. They have all this stuff. Everything is a tool in your toolbox that you can morph into what you want to do at the end of the day. I think that's important. The other thing to remember is like there is large enterprise legacy things that need to be migrated, needs to be
Oh
moved
yeah.
into things, and there will be jobs, there will be AI, there will be all sorts of things. There'll be mission critical things at the end of the day. So again, it's all scope and scale. Like to what we're saying is like, hey, can I dream up a feature and put it on an application, put out feedback flow? Yes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
is feedback flow Bank of America? No. You know what I mean? Like different scales at the end of the day that's out there. So and the question is how much of the code is not just generated but reviewed and how many people are needed to do that stuff. So I think it will just change our job. I don't think it eliminates our job in any way,
Sure.
because who is the person that's going to think of the circuitry thing and understand the vast knowledge of how a user wants to interact with that app and drive innovation to what you're doing in iCircuit or what you're doing in MoCast, or dream up something different of how you want and how you can envision a podcast application to be at the end of the day. So that's where I think a lot of the important part of becoming a developer is understanding the end users and understanding the systems and understanding the AI that's going to help us get to that as well. So that's how I see it. I mean, I'm definitely not doom and gloom. Like I am very like excited at this point because as someone that doesn't get to code 40 hours a week, I mean, no one gets to code 40 hours a week, but like, did you get a new chair?
No, it's just fancier, swivelier.
It's fancy
So
new chair, or is it a
I've
swivel
I've been
chair?
using I've been using this chair for probably a year now. Thanks for noticing.
Wow. Well, I had noticed. It's really standing out today. I don't know if it's the color and the mood lighting you. Do you have a new plant? Where's the horse photo at? What is happening at your
I'm
house?
so sorry. The AI made me change things. It recommended that I improve my studio setup, and I've changed my studio around a little. I had a plant to the left. I needed a plant to the right. Balance, James. Everything in balance, harmony. I got tired of the horse. As simple as
Wow.
that.
All right. If you're
It's a
not
cute
watching on
horse, though.
YouTube, it has bothered me for the last 30 minutes. There's something happening with Frank. And I'm also not
I'm
sure.
sorry.
I'm not sure if anything behind him is real or not. It may not
Ooh.
be. He may just be green screen. I am not touch a plant. Touch a plant. Okay, it's real. Okay, it's real. Okay.
No, it's just
Thank
a
you.
really good AI, James. It's really good AI.
No. Oh no. That's real time. Anyways, so that's how I see the world, Frank, a little bit right now. But it's rapid innovation. But at the same time, we've been rapidly evolving our tools in all sorts of ways. Remember
Yeah.
doing DevOps like 10 years ago? Terrible. What now it's just like I don't know, just do it. I just ask the AI to do it. Just I don't figure out how to do it. It just does it. Just do it. You know what I mean? Amazing. It's amazing. You know what I mean? Like just how much time as I say. But I had to know how to do the thing and tell it the thing that I wanted it to do. You know what I mean? At some point it should get to that place that it can help me, proactively do that stuff. Right now it's
And
reactive.
it's a different allocation of time too. Like talking about just a few years ago, like I used to manually build my apps and then upload them to Apple. I'm not even
Wow.
sure how to do that anymore because I've been using like CI scripts like for the last 5 whatever years, and it's funny how you just lose skills, atrophy, and all that right away. I didn't mean to doom and gloom. When I was talking before, I was talking a century out, not a decade. Um, and I'm not a doom and gloom person. I'm an optimist. So when I talk about, I wonder what labor looks like in the future, I wonder
Mm.
what businesses look like in the future.
Mm.
I mean it because I do wonder. Humanity here is here to support humanity. We will always make jobs for each other because in the end, I'm a person, I need a job. So when I create a business, I'm going to find other people and employ them to do things. I don't think like humanity is going to go away and be replaced by the singularity AI thing or any of that. But labor is going to change and jobs are going to change. And so we're both talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
I was just jumping very far into the future because
Yeah.
I watch a lot of sci-fi and I like to think about those things.
Well, there's that combination of what we talked about on the podcast of not just AI, but also robots and like how they combine these things together. Like I walk into the Fred Meyer's late at night and there is a robot sweeping the floors and driving around and doing its thing. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? You go to the airport, and they have the self-automated wheelchairs that are going, like, I'm going over here,
Ooh,
just doing this
I haven't
thing.
seen that.
They're just like, they're walking around like a googly eyes are doing their thing. Hey, what's going on? Wheelchairs bopping around. All right, let's do this thing. That makes sense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And to that point, like I was watching this video on Amazon and some of the work that they're doing, I think it's in the Spokane or maybe in the Tri-City area at one of the distribution houses. They have a whole robotics division, obviously. But have you ever seen inside of an Amazon?
Years ago,
Wild.
it's maddening. I've seen like the postal sorting robots, and I've seen the Amazon ones. That's a large labor force too. Sorry, I keep thinking about labor
Well, and they
because
have a new robot that can sense things based on feel. So basically, like it's able to feel like dimensions and use this like AI algorithms to be able to more effectively pack things up. And their main goal is that things are high up and they can be heavy, and like they're the potential to hurt individuals or for them to get injured is a lot more. Again, focus on things that people are really, really good at, right? That is
or dangerous things. That's a classic place for robots to serve a purpose. I love that
totally.
we've already jumped to robots. Did you see the rumor about the Apple Armor robot?
No, what's that?
No, no one
Armor.
knows.
Oh.
There were just a few subtle leaks out of Apple, and
Hmm.
Apple from time to time publishes papers, but everyone's wondering if Apple's going to get into robots, and somehow the word armor got out there. But it's a non-anthropomorphic robot. It's a
Hmm.
non-humanoid robot. They're just because yeah, whatever. Things that reach things off of high shelves. I could use a
Yeah.
robot that reaches things off of
Yeah.
high shelves because that's the thing. But it's going to be years before we get there. So I didn't mean to be a doom and gloom.
Well,
But
I I think it will. I mean, I think to your point is like what I'm saying is that I think somehow, oddly enough, at the beginning of the year, I had very different thoughts about all this. Like, yeah, I got excited about the Samsung like handy thing, and this is cute and all this stuff. But now I'm really thinking that sooner before I die, that I will see things that are actually like crazy useful. Like, why am I folding my laundry? Why am I vacuuming the floors? Why? And like the vacuums that vacuum the floor, they're not smart. They're not. They're bumping. They're not good. Like, it can't know about my dog. It doesn't know about this thing. Like, it doesn't know when I'm. It doesn't know when I'm working. It should just be like, the Jetsons up in here. But I'm thinking that some of these things, when I see how it's infused in some of these robots, like in the Amazon facility, for example, like it's a fixed thing that's moving around, but like how it's, infusing these different elements, I'm like, oh, that's eventually going to come down to consumer grade devices. Like, here's a
yeah.
crazy part. This computer that I have in my hand, this is a
Mm.
mini forum sent me this. This is a $500 um, little
Snapdragon.
min
Is that right?
little no, this is a
Nope. Sorry.
Ryzen
I'm
7,
sorry.
Ryzen 7, 32 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte of storage, little device for under $500. And it's like a powerhouse chip. It's got a mobile GPU and it's got all this stuff. Like, I'm just saying, it's like, this is only going to get smaller, and it's going to be able to process and do so much more inside of these things. It already can. But like, I think this combination of where some of this different tech is doing, I think will actually do the things that I want it to do. Because I've been disappointed by robotics for the most part, because the problem with
You should be.
consumer grade, and I am, and Frank, I am. The problem with consumer grade robotics is that they have to be cheap enough, which means they can't be smart enough to do the things that you actually want them to do.
Well, here's the problem. We just had an AI revolution in the information space. So I'm going back to this distinction.
Yep.
That revolution has not happened in robotics. We are
Mm.
walking a very gentle linear path in robotics. Right now, robotics is a lot of people hand coding a lot of algorithms with the assistance of AI. Yes, we're all using Copilot and what to help us write that code. But just because we jumped a whole level, we jumped an order of magnitude in the power of AIs with the invention of transformers and LLMs, and we haven't quite figured out how to translate that into other things yet. Did you see the first robot marathon in China?
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah. I
was
saw that. Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Reminded me a lot of the Grand Challenge because a lot of those robots couldn't complete the race. A lot of the robots couldn't get 20 feet past the starting line. But it's a linear, slow thing to work on those robots, and you're gonna sit there and you're gonna work on them. I think the error we don't want to make in our heads is just because we had a revolution in one space, the information space with LLMs and copilots and all that kind of stuff, that does not mean it's going to translate down to the other one. There will be knock-on effects. They make it easier to code those robots. But AIs, LLMs, because they're prompt based, aren't doing original science. They're assisting scientists to do original science. But no one has, not that I'm aware of, maybe OpenAI with all their money or Google's doing this, but no one has said to an AI, hypothesize a new physical law and then devise an experiment for it and then conduct that experiment. Science is not being done by AIs right now. Science still has to be done by humans, and therefore it's still on the slow human path. We got a new tool. We got a new tool to assist us, but we're still going to be on a linear path. We're not on a hockey stick curve or anything like that. Maybe the linear, the slope has increased thanks AIs, but the revolution that we've received from LLMs, which honestly have changed the world, have not changed all the other practices yet. For us developers, great. We can revel in it. We've got 20 years before we're obsoleted. Great. We can make some money during that time. But I think it's the reason we should and should not talk about robotics is because it hasn't helped robots yet. My Roomba is not benefiting from LLMs right now. It'd be cute if I could talk to the Roomba and it could tell me fun facts about World War II while it's vacuuming, or the way an LLM can, or I could use it as a therapist the way I use LLMs. But right now, that really doesn't help it at its core task of vacuuming my house. It's still really terrible at that.
Yeah.
So it's fun because everyone's excited for new technology and all that stuff, but it doesn't necessarily translate into the other fields just yet.
Yeah. Not yet is the key. And I
Yeah,
think, I'm oddly excited. And I think that I'm oddly excited. I think that's, and I'm optimistic about the
it is
future.
because it is. This is the same excitement we got with the mobile revolution. Like, oh, what happens if we just put a supercomputer in everyone's hands?
Yeah.
Well, Twitter and TikTok happen, sadly, but other good things happen. We can text our mom on Mother's Day instantaneously. The dingus can tell us it's Mother's Day, and we can handle all that kind of stuff. Um, so it is a fun time. It's anytime there's a technological revolution for nerds like us, for technologists. This is the best. This is
Yeah.
Candyland.
Yeah. And I hope to see it infuse into many more things. Like I can imagine a world of all the things that I thought were very difficult for me to grasp and understand and do, right? Like for example, like
Mm-hmm.
3D printing. Like I think there's a world where like not only can it help me analyze, and I'm sure this is happening, like the model and the things that it's printing, like the printer itself, and like analyzing and
Not yet.
self-diagnosing and retrying and doing all this stuff, like things that are smart, things that aren't smart can become smart. And it's infusing those things in it. So I think that's the thing that has me excited about the future and where we're going and where things are at. But I think what you said is like even now is a really great time because it is a second renaissance of apps and SaaS and ideas and features as products and all these different things that are really scaling up and moving really fast. Like if you have an idea, you can go do it. In fact, I mean that's what they were saying in the videos. You have an idea, you just do it. You can do it at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like I'll tell you this much, as people talk about, slop images and slop AI and slop code and all this other stuff, I'm working on this build demo that it's a .NET backend. It has this React front end. I know nothing about React, right? I know nothing about React. I never built a React
Okay.
JS
Mm-hmm.
application. I've never used TypeScript a day in my life at all. I have this beautiful application that I built, right? Here's the thing.
You built
I'm
it.
a developer. I can read the code. I understand the code. I understand components. I understand what's happening. There's some complexities with some stuff that's happening, but like all the things that it did, it would have took me so much time to do. And yet I understand the thing that it's doing. I'm reviewing it in real time, like we've talked about. And I'm putting together this amazing POC that I put together in under an hour that like blew people's mind that thing can happen. I trust it. Like people are like, hey, I don't know about Copilot or Cursor or Winds or these other things, right? Just try the thing that I'm just telling you. Like it's not perfect. It's not necessarily the fastest thing. You have to work with it. You have to have good prompts. You can't just like we did this stream on the VS Code channel where Burke Holland, who's on
Yeah.
the VS Code team, he built a MCP server for his light effects bulbs, and he grabbed some things, and I was like, "Oh, dude, just tell it go. Just tell it do it." And funnily enough, it actually like from the context it gave it of the APIs and this other stuff, it knew what it wanted to do, but he didn't give it enough context of like how he wanted it, like what
Yeah.
language, like what package, all these other things, and what model to select. It went down the wrong path. He self-corrected, gave it a bigger prompt, and did it. But what I'm saying is, I'm like, trust it. And then every time he was trying to type something, I was like, stop typing stuff and tell it to do the thing for you. I was like, I was building feedback flow and I was implementing these features with the AI, like add Twitter, add Blue Sky, add these things. And after I added one service in the prompt on all the conversation, I said, create a prompt that's reusable of all the steps that you just did. Because I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
write all the things all the time. And it just generated the thing that it did. You know what? Frank Krueger once told me, like, these things are smart. They understand what they're doing. They understand the words that you're telling. It doesn't have to be perfect. It understands there. Like there's some trust level that I've gained with it to say, okay, I understand what you're good at and what you're not good at. And the thing is, what you may not weren't good at last week, maybe you're good at now, right? You got to keep revving with it as it evolves. The thing is, like, you give it a little faith, you can go a long way, and you can build something that's really
Yeah.
real. And also, it can be real stuff that you don't maybe are an expert at. Pierce was building out an entire Swift application for this cycling application. 100%. It's like built. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was like the Swift application with Swift UI. I've never used Swift UI a day in my life. Never. I've never once. But here's the thing. I'm a developer that has written a crap ton of code. When we were reviewing the code inside of VS Code, I was like, I understand everything that's happening. Like, I understand what it generated. You know, maybe I wouldn't understand if I was writing this all by hand, but now that it's done it, I was like, oh wow, like I'm actually learning from this thing. And I was telling Scott on the podcast, I said, he was like, oh, what do you talk about? Like new developers that like come in, like, is this the direction I'm going to go? I was like, here's the thing with new developers. You can vibe and you can also use it as an educator. Like as it's generating code, give it a prompt to quiz you and teach you about the code as you're going. Like have it be your tutor. Like, because as Frank Kruger has told me, these things are smart. You just got to tell them what to do and they'll freaking do it. Like they'll do it. Like, I think that's the thing that is blowing my mind. And like, I know that I'm literally preaching to the choir of Frank Kruger at some point here, but like there has been a quarter that has been deposited in me, right? That, and I don't know what it was that has unlocked this, because it is really only sometime this year that this has like really flipped and like amped it up. And I'm sure you've seen it in my excitement in this conversation. And oddly enough, maybe my understanding a little bit, like a year ago, I was like, what is an LLM? Like, what are vectors? Frank, teach me these things, right? But like, I am proactive. Like I was teaching you about MCP servers before they were even out. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I get to be the mentor here for a little bit, right? Like, because I'm jazzed all of a sudden about like the capabilities. And like when I saw MCP servers, I was like, oh, I get it. I'm all in. Like I understand exactly what this is doing. And I understand that somebody built an MCP server for Xcode builds. It's called the Xcode build MCP. I sponsored it on GitHub because you can now execute and build Xcode and Swift applications and anything by calling this MCP. It can just run commands for you and it just knows what to do. And you just tell, like, Pierce built these custom instructions that literally it tells it what to do and how to build it and just does it. It knows how to do. Why are you ever F5ing something again? I never am like typing a command. I'm like, run and debug, like do the thing, do it. And in fact, and then once you work with it and you're like, you know what, after you implement features, like build and execute and run the application, just do it for me. I don't want to click the buttons. I don't want to do the button clicking. Do it for me, because that's what I was going to do anyways. Like that preemptive thinking of what excites me, right? But what that lets me do, and I told on the Hanselman's podcast with Scott Hanselman, name drop, ding, 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 Scott Hanselman, he's my boss. He's my boss. I don't know how excited I could be
Brown noser.
I don't know how excited I can be on my boss's podcast. You know, and Scott's great. But I said, you know, on Feedback Flow, and I think we talked about it, it's like, you know what brought me a lot of joy besides actually getting the app off the ground running? It was spending like 4 hours figuring out the Reddit JSON deserialization mess of their crazy JSON and the C# and system text JSON and getting these things to work, and like the redonkulous like JSON that they return and getting it all working. It took me like 3 or 4 hours, but at the end of it, I was like, I did it. I did that. And I was like, yes. And I was like, boom, suck it. No. You know what I mean? Because the AI, it couldn't figure it out because it was so complex and so convoluted of this random JSON that the Reddit API was returning back. I was like, you know who can fix this? I can fix it. And I was like,
good job.
In it. I was like, yes.
You still have value.
And I was like, let me solve the really hard problems at the end of the day. I don't need to scaffold out a bunch of APIs and JSON. Like, just do the thing. Do the thing. Because you know what? It's been done before. I'm not inventing something new. I mean, obviously deserializing the JSON not new, but let me architect what I want the app to do that brings a lot of value at the end of the day. And as I was building the app, I think the coolest part of it that I think, again, comes back to my excitement is like, you know, this app idea came from like David Fowler and some of his original source code. And I was for like the first week and a half, like in my spare time and at night on the weekends, as I was jamming on this, like I'd be up at 1 a.m, like talking to Fowler, like implementing features, like going back, like implementing features, doing this stuff. And like I was just like cranking, you know what I mean? And it was like so satisfying to deliver these features to Fowler and then for him to share it. And like that was so rewarding. And that's something I never could have been able to do 2 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago. I would have
Yeah.
never been able to do it. And I think that's the part that like gets me so excited. It's like I was able to build something because it came from my mind, and I understand I understand what's happening, but I was able to get it done so quick and rapidly iterate. And I think you and I were talking earlier is like if you are not thinking in this way of launching products, evolving product, developing products, I think you're going to be left behind. I think like if you are not infusing this natural stuff into your every single day part of your development, it doesn't have to be all of it. It can be a little bit, it can be a lot, it can be somewhere in between. But like here's the problem is like somebody else is going to, right? If Frank is not injecting what he's doing to help him develop features faster in his applications, somebody else is going to do it because the tools exist for them to do it and build things faster than ever. And that's
Yeah.
something that now to me has me excited, has a fire lit underneath me. Like, how do I get to not only just the market faster, but how do I make things and build things faster that are really going to get my customers delighted, my users delighted, that I could, what it took me months or weeks to build that now I can get out in days. And that's what has me excited about it.
We really should end there because that was a great follow up to your first soapbox. But I'm not me unless I chime in and just explain how everything you just said just reinforces my analogy. Because the entire time I'm thinking about early assembly in programming and the revolution that was the automated compiler. What if, instead of writing assembly code, writing machine code, we trusted this other piece of software called the compiler to take all our high level ideas and turn it into assembly? And even up till the 90s, I remember people were like, I still don't trust compilers. I don't trust that C compiler. Shouldn't we write this in assembly to be absolutely sure it's doing what we think it's doing? As someone who grew up with compilers, I'm like, no, I trust the compiler. I know if I give it the right high level statements, it's going to generate the right assembly. But even back then, we would have the specialists that knew how to read assembly. In fact, I grew up writing assembly, and I always felt safe that I could look at the C compiler output in assembly and verify in my head, oh, yeah, I guess that is roughly the assembly language I would have written as a true software developer
Yeah.
who obviously only writes an assembly language. Well, we're here. We've raised the bar a bit. I'm just going to reinforce AI is the new assembly language. It's time for us to think a bit higher up than that. Everything you said is much better than that. I just had to say that my analogy was reinforced by everything that you said.
I love it. Before we get out of here, Frank, if you've made it this far in the podcast, 53 minutes in, I want to give a shout out to a brand new YouTube channel that I'm going
Oh,
to put in the show notes. It's called MoCode.
mo code
MoCode. It's MoCode CH for some reason is the
channel.
YouTube handle. Frank, you launched a brand new YouTube channel. One, congratulations. Let's do a little publicity to our
Oh,
listeners to go subscribe. And what is the channel all about?
hi, everyone. I'm Frank Kruger from MoCode. No, I just wanted to have a little outlet. Back in the day, you used to have a blog to talk about things. Nowadays, I feel like you kind of have to have a YouTube or a TikTok or something. You got to do things in video. I just wanted to talk more about AI, no code development, vibe coding, whatever you want to call it. I don't care what you call it. This new revolution in programming because it is exciting. And I wanted a little outlet to have fun and start making some videos around it. So if you want to hear more of my opinions on all this stuff, from making analogies to capitalism to assembly language to AI development, it's a new channel. There aren't many videos up. It takes a while to edit videos, it turns out. Maybe I should be vibe coding a better video editor. Maybe that would be a whole series on there. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, I have a new YouTube channel. Just a nice place for me to talk about this new revolution in programming.
I hope that at some point you do a meta, like um, a react video about our podcast about some, like, it's so meta. It's you reviewing ourselves, but it's actually just you criticizing me, and I'd appreciate that.
I'm pretty
The things that
self-critical.
you
Don't worry, I would make fun.
like, now that I've had a week to digest what James spat out of his mouth, let me actually tell you how wrong he is. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's Merge Conflict. If you want more of this juicy, sweet AI content, head over to youtube.com/at Merge Conflict FM. That's where you can watch our beautiful faces every single week. You can also subscribe in your favorite podcast application. You can share it with friends. You can do everything. You can also become a Patreon where you can go ahead and donate sweet, sweet monies, and that will go straight into Frank Kruger's pocket at some point in the future when I meet up with him and give him sweet, sweet cash from my checking account.
Real cash.
Wow. But that's going to do it. And we also put out bonus videos and a whole bunch of good stuff. You get the podcast early, all those things. But go check out Mo Code on YouTube. I'll put a link in the show notes. But that's going to do it for this week's Merge Conflict. So until next time, I'm Jason Montemagno.
And I'm Frank Kruger. Thanks for watching and listening.
Peace.